When I think of Rise and Thrive, I think of togetherness, coming together to do things to strengthen each other. That's what I thought about when you introduced Rise and Thrive to me.
The Rise and Thrive campaign aims to amplify local entrepreneurs and business leaders in the Mississippi Delta. Meet the founder and executive director of Family Biz Builder, the nonprofit training center providing education and training programs to youth, families, and businesses. Her journey as an entrepreneur is a testament to wisdom and perseverance. Here is her story.
I'm Peggie Henderson, and I'm founder and executive director of Family Biz Builder. And starting Family Biz Builder in Tunica County has been really important to me because I was born here, I was raised here, and then I went away, and when I came back here, I saw some of the same things that was happening before I left. And so to be able to come back to Tunica County and focus on our families and our kids and the challenges they were having, that was so important to me. Now, when I was very young, when I was raised here, born here and raised here in Tunica County, and I we lived on a farm and we grew everything. We had cattle and pigs and chickens, everything, vegetables, everything that you could imagine, we had it. And so we didn't have a lot of money. And anytime I would ask my mom, I said, well, I really want to buy a pair of shoes. And she said, well, think of what you have to sell. And so it could be eggs or tomatoes or vegetable. Even I could sell a pig, I remember once I wanted a camera. And she said, go sell this, go sell that. So that's the mindset that I had as a child, a child in a family that, with a mom that's telling me, if you need it, there's a way to get it. And you do this and you do that. So that's the way I thought. And I thought all families operated that way until much later. And so the family and the business was in me from very young. My mom had her first job in Head Start as a cook. And she was so happy, with her first job out of the fields. And she really didn't have a lot of skills other than working in the field, taking care of the house. And, she knew how to cook. So when she got a job with Head Start, that was the best thing that she thought could have happened. But because we own land, we own things, the Head Start committee told her that she didn't qualify to work in Head Start. And so they weren't going to hire her. But for that reason. And she became so sad. And when I saw how sad she was, and I was at a place in my life, I was looking for another way. I was looking for a place that I could be comfortable, that I could grow. And so I looked to find out what my mom could do. Because whatever she knew how to do, the skills that she had, I could learn how to do it. And so the only thing I knew that she could do was sew, because she made all of our clothes. And so I sat down and I wrote my first business plan. And I presented the plan to my mom with every detail, even with the numbers, so she could see it would be a way that she could make a living working for herself. My mom read that business plan. She looked at me. She said, we can do this. I said, yes, we can. And so we started sewing, and we didn't know who the market would be. But my mom always liked natural fibers. She didn't like anything synthetic. So we got natural fiber, wools, cottons, linens, and we made clothes. And we had this house, and we dressed the house up. And in October of '69, we opened that business. And do you know, we sold everything the first week, everything that we had made. So with the business plan that was written to go forward, at that early in it, I had to change it. I said, okay, we got to change it. this will not work because we won't be able to keep up. We have to restructure. And that's when I saw the business really, really took off. And we grew like that for 10 years. For 10 years, we took orders and we had customers, and we had too many customers, and because we didn't have what? We didn't have enough people trained to do what we do. So that's a key. In business, you need to think about how you can grow, because it would take people with the same kind of skills that would make that business grow. And we didn't do that. So with that, at that time, by 79, the business plan had to change from being a custom sewing shop to a fashionette ready-to-wear dress shop. And we called it fashionette dress shop at that time. And so that's when it had to pivot. And that was October, and always in October, right before Christmas, right? Of 79. When we opened, people just came from everywhere. And usually businesses are in the red at least 3 years. We were in the red 3 months. In 3 months, we were out of the red. And the business continued to grow. Every month was bigger than the month before. It just continued to grow. And our key in that business for so many years was customer service. We thought about the customer. And that's how we were successful with it. Okay, now, I always had it in my mind, to create, like I said, early on, employment for my mom, and it also provided employment for my sister, who is Shirley Hall. And I continued to have this desire to create employment. And so my family and I came, we came together, and we was looking at a way that we could provide employment for the people in Tunica County. And so we started this chemical manufacturing. It was chemical manufacturing and packaging. And that was a business that I knew nothing about. And I mean, I had to learn everything about it. Now, this was a hard lesson because there was so much that I didn't know. When you think about low literacy in the area of the other business, when I first started, it was low literacy. I didn't even know how to sew. But I taught myself how to do it. And so when I got to this corporate company, I had to teach myself everything. And one of the biggest lessons and the challenges dealing with that type company is really knowing your numbers, because you had to make sure that every cost is captured. And in manufacturing like that, spillage, I had nothing in the expense column for spillage. And do you know how much that costs? I had nothing in the expense column for thievery. That was a loss. And there were so many things in the line items of expenses that, I didn't capture. Always looking for how big the contract was, but never really paying attention to the expense and what kind of profits was being made. Because if you're in business and not making a profit, it's just a hobby. Just thinking of the entrepreneurial journey, the thing when it gets difficult, and it will, just persevere. And I always thought, if you quit, you will not win. And a lot of time it was me. It was just me, I can't do this. This is too hard. But then I would overcome those thoughts and just keep going. So in business, you gotta know it's gonna be challenging. You're gonna run into almost every day, you're gonna run into some kind of challenge, but just persevere. Keep going and keep going. And then you'll know when you're overcoming, when you looked at the numbers. Because I had a process every Friday. I would study the numbers. And, not knowing from quality control or anything like that what I was doing, but I knew when the numbers when they were variance and it was losing money too long, I knew we had to do something. So I learned to just study those numbers. And I have to remember that because business is about numbers. You know, it might feel good, it might look good, people might think, but if you're not making any money, then you're not in business. So those are the things that I think about. And, you know, and I would always, and even more now than ever before, because there are so many pieces. And, you know, to be able to watch the numbers to really know if you're making money or if you're going to go under. And if you are going to go under, you need to know when you know, based on your cash flow, when you are going under. Okay, one way that I stay motivated in working with the kids and seeing how they are when you first meet them. When I first meet them, you know, you see their personalities, because I try to get to know each and, you know, every child that we work with. And what motivates me is when I see the state of mind of that child from this period, and to see how they change. And, you know, as they learn how to read. And I remember this little boy, you know, he was really struggling reading. And then he was just started learn how to read. And he said, I can do it. I can read, you know, I can do it. And he had this big smile. So those are the kind of things that really, really motivated me to just continue to, don't quit. Because if you could just help one child, and I've seen many children come through the program that I could see that the work wasn't in vain, you know, that it did change a life, or it did make a child happy, you know. So those are the things that keep me going. It motivates me. I was in upstate New York. And when in New York, the families was having trouble with kids killing each other and doing all these things. So I saw then that the kids need to focus on their character. The families need to focus on character. So when I decided to come back to Tunica, that was one of the areas that I focused on, because, and then when I did a survey and interview with a lot of the teachers, a lot of them said because of the behaviors of the kids, that they were leaving, they weren't going to teach anymore. They didn't want to be in the industry anymore. And so I continue to say that we need to have personal development, which is dealing with character. And so after focusing on the personal development, dealing with character, that's when I found out that they had difficulty reading. And that shocked me, because I hadn't thought about that being the issue of the behavior and disrespect and all of these things, until I found out that they was having problems reading to comprehend. And so that's when we stopped and really focused on education, because I knew if we didn't focus on helping the kids learn how to read, they was going to continue with that same behavior, and not even knowing that it was causing a problem. And during that time, you know, when we say deal with low literacy, the kids didn't even want people to know that they were in that class. I had some 4th and 5th graders that came to me and said, you know, I really want to learn how to read, but I don't want other people to know. So they have made low literacy, you know, something to be ashamed of, not knowing that that's just something that you lack knowledge of. You don't know yet, and you don't even know you don't know. And so that's, you know, that's been the focus. Coming back to Tunica, seeing that same thing that I saw years ago before I left and came back here, is still the same old way. Now, the partnership that I've been involved in is really with the Tunica County Parks and Recreation. I have been able to partner with that organization since, I think it was 2016. And to know that with the community coming together, adding to what, ordinarily you look at it as a competitor. But we have no competitors in a community like this when so many services are needed. But those services come together as a partnership, which helps the partner at that, Tunica County Parks and Rec, and also help our organization. And the other partnership that I'm really, really pleased about is Saints Emerald City, because in that partnership, it really, really is great because that business has needs. Family Biz Builder has needs. And it makes sense to me for the two businesses to work together because it provides what any challenges that we're having, like in our instance, we want to be branded as a learning center. So that takes marketing. St. Emerald City is a marketing company, so what it makes sense to me to come together with a partner that has the believe in the mission, the vision, and believe that they can work together to change the community. So that's the partnership that I value. Really, I value it the most because it's a business. And that's how we're gonna work together and cause people to be employed. And because we need people, and we're looking for people. And even better than that, we're a training organization, right? So we know the people that if they fall in line, if they agree with the mission, then we can train them. Because it's one thing to have knowledge about something. You can talk all you want if you have knowledge. But if you don't know how to implement it, I always think about if you don't know how to put legs on it, it ain't going nowhere. So partnership is the key to any business venture. Partnership, collaboration, making sure each partner is a win. It's a win-win for both organizations. That's the strength of Tunica. The strength of economic growth is growing the people, investing in the people, investing in the people that's interested in growing their businesses, because that creates employment, right? It creates a whole different community when the businesses are thriving, when the businesses are being successful, when the businesses are training up people to provide the services, because every business is solving a problem. So every business that's coming together, you're solving the problem not just for that business, but you're solving a problem for the community, because you're causing that community, the people in the community, to create their own income and not just sit back and wait and wait and wait, but to provide their own income. So you're not limited by a job. You're not limited by what you can do. You're not limited. So that's what I can see, businesses coming together, creating employment in each and every community. I'm always looking for ways to innovate, because the way times are changing, I look for tools, I look for technology, things, that would make learning fun. I can see Family Biz Builder, being able to really grow and be able to overcome the challenge of low literacy to create businesses. Because when we say low literacy, that's just in the area of anything that you don't know yet or have missed out on those skills. But in the area of businesses, I can see a new generation of business owners changing the community. Rise and Thrive is a campaign. It's a marketing campaign. And I know as far as most businesses, that's one of the areas that we really, really like, is the marketing. That people know who you are, that, branding and marketing. So I can see this campaign providing that service to businesses. Because like I said, for many years, with all of the business that I've ever had, I never had that marketing piece because I just didn't think of it. But I know how critical it is. And especially now, with everything on social media and people are, looking that way. But you have to have someone to put you out there. So I can see this Rise and Thrive campaign causing that to happen for businesses.
The Rise and Thrive campaign by Saints Emerald City is on a mission to inspire, uplift, and empower the entrepreneurial spirit within Tunica, Mississippi. Together, we can make a difference and empower the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. From the Mississippi Delta and beyond, let's rise and thrive.